Hey, it's Melissa F. Kaelin. I am the author of Below the 45th Parallel, the Beginner's Guide to Chasing the Aurora in the Great Lakes region. And today I want to share a subscription service with you that could change your luck on the Aurora Chasing Trail. Now, right now we're looking at my website, kaelinart.com. It has lots of great info and advice, whether you're into a creative journey or the Aurora itself. But let's go ahead and learn how to subscribe to this service from the Space Weather Prediction Center, which is our national forecasting agency. So go into a search engine, type Space Weather Prediction Center, and then you're going to pull up the NOAA homepage for this agency. It has lots of great information, including some news highlights, a job posting right now, shows some of the solar wind data. It also has all these dashboards that are available to you, including for space weather enthusiasts or Aurora in particular. Of course, space weather is what brings us the Aurora. So that's a great thing to have. Now, whether you go all the way down to the footer and check out the resources, including a glossary and some of their education and outreach, or the subscribe button, or all the way at the top, you can subscribe to their email notifications. This is a free service. The SWPC provides a wide range of alerts, warnings, watches, and forecasts that you can receive within minutes of when they're issued. And this is a free subscription. Now, there are a lot of options available to you, and some of them can be a little confusing for someone at the beginning level. So you can read through these and you can see what you're looking at, educate yourself about what you're signing up for. But let's say we want to go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe now. You're going to click that button. Then you will need a login. You can create a free login. Of course, I already have a login, so I'm just going to go ahead and type in my information here. If you're a new user, you can click here to subscribe and then log in. So this is our welcome to the Space Weather Prediction Center's product subscription service. Then you come to a page that's going to let you manage your account. So you can manage your user profile, deactivate notifications. You have all kinds of options here, but what we want to do is subscribe, add or change our subscription preferences. Then you come to the product categories. Now they have an easy start that you can click here, but I'm going to show you exactly what you want to receive when it comes to Aurora chasing on the ground. So when we're looking for strong Aurora activity, we're actually looking for strong geomagnetic activity or geomagnetic storms, which bring us those strong northern lights. That's measured on the K index, which is a scale of 0 to 9 that measures geomagnetic activity, also known as Aurora activity when you get right down to it. And 0 is the weakest, 9 is the highest. We can click in here and see what is available to us. Now, I like to subscribe for everything, but you can sort of decide, okay, at my latitude for as far north as I live, this is the K index I need to see northern lights in my backyard. So figure out what K index you need in your area. If you need help learning how to read some of these things or learning what your latitude is or how to use it, subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll walk you through it. But they offer a number of products here, including alerts, warnings, even watches. So what do those mean? Well, a watch is usually the first thing we see issued. And this is a real watch email from this year. These can be issued 2 to 3 days in advance or closer, because this is really telling you that we believe the conditions needed to create geomagnetic activity leading to the aurora are present. So this could happen. So in this case, we're looking at a watch for a geomagnetic storm of G1, which is equivalent to a K5. That's a G1 storm. You'll get the issue time for the space weather message, the highest storm level predicted by day on the UTC day of October 6th and October 7th, we have a chance of G1 minor geomagnetic storms. And of course, this was issued in early October, so it's no longer relevant. But if you read on down through here, you can find the description of the scales as well as potential impacts in terms of geomagnetic latitude, induced currents, and how this affects the power grid because of that geomagnetic current. And then impacts on spacecraft. At the very bottom, you'll find Aurora. Aurora may be visible at high latitudes, i.e. the northern tier of the US, such as northern Michigan and Maine. And that's at a G1 storm. So those watches are telling us that the conditions are present that could lead to this type of activity. Next, you could see a warning. So here is a warning issued for a geomagnetic K index of 6 or a G2 storm. The issue time, again, this is an extended warning for a K6, valid from, it gives you that time in universal time coordinated on the date and year, now valid until, again, the time given in universal time coordinated on that date. And again, you'll have a link to the scales, potential impacts, induced currents, spacecraft, and radio implications. And then Aurora at the bottom, Aurora may be seen as low as New York to Wisconsin to Washington State during a G2 storm. So this is a warning. It's stronger than a watch because it means not only are the conditions present that's needed to create this activity, but we actually have evidence that this is occurring. It's just a matter of when and where it will hit. The next thing you'll see is an alert. So here's an email that indicates there has been a G1 storm alert, a K5 alert. These alert messages will tell you when the alert was issued and at what time that threshold was reached. So this is actually telling us that we reached the threshold of a K5 or G1 storm, meaning Aurora may have been visible at high latitudes, i.e. the northern tier of the US, such as northern Michigan and Maine. So again, the watch tells you when the conditions are present that could lead to aurora. A warning tells you we have evidence that this is happening. It's just a matter of when and where. And an alert tells you these conditions have been reached. Here's the time you could expect active skies from here on outward. So let's go back to our subscription service page. You're going to see that you can sign up for these alerts, warnings, and watches for each of the levels from K4 up. Now, K4 actually doesn't have watches issued because that's below storm levels, but once we hit K5, those are geomagnetic storms, and you can get the watches as well. So sign up for anything that's relevant to you at your latitude. I'm going to go ahead and sign up for all of these notifications because I want to know when there's a really strong chance of aurora. Now, there's one more in here that we didn't talk about, and that is the geomagnetic sudden impulse. This marks the possible beginning of a geomagnetic storm. So this sudden impulse, when it hits, indicates that we've seen unsettled conditions that could impact Earth's atmosphere. And here's a summary of the sudden impulse that was just detected. Now, that could mean that strong conditions are right ahead. So those summaries of the sudden impulse are also good to know. All right, I'm going to submit my choices here to get those free emails. And then there's one more, even for beginners. The forecast and summaries. Obviously, as you get into aurora chasing and learning about this science and this field, there's a lot of scientific terminology and data and all sorts of physics, astrophysics that go into it behind the scenes. So what you really want is a plain language 3-day forecast product. This NOAA 3-day forecast is going to give you the plain language aurora forecast. Really, it's a geomagnetic activity forecast, but it's going to tell you about chances for aurora within 3 days. Now, we can only reliably predict aurora 2 to 3 days in advance because that's how long it takes for that activity from the sun's surface to reach Earth's atmosphere. Anything beyond that is generally based on historic data. So go ahead and submit for NOAA's 3-day forecast, and all of a sudden you have your subscriptions noted here, your notifications on, and you're good to go. I hope that this helps you as you chase the northern lights, and always, as always, good luck on the aurora chasing trail.